Hey everybody, welcome to a special episode of the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dyer. We're here at the Delta Marriott in Sharonville for the 24th Annual GMC Football National Letter of Intent Recognition Ceremony. And we are here on Chester Road in Sharonville getting ready for that program, which starts at 1:15 p.m., a celebration of 40 student athletes who have signed to play college football since the early signing period here in mid-December. Please be joined by Fairfield coach Jason Krause here to lead us off as we're going to talk to each and every one of the 10 GMC coaches about the signing class and a look ahead to the 2023 season. More on Coach here in just a second. This WCPO High School Insider Podcast is sponsored by your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Chick-fil-A restaurants. Download the app for easy ordering and rewards. And we also really appreciate Chick-fil-A for catering lunch today for the student athletes and coaches. All the support for this great ceremony, which I said is in its 24th annual year. Pam Gilchrist and the staff, again, we greatly appreciate all your support for the High School Insider Podcast throughout the school year. Also, I want to give a shout out to Beacon Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Kim McBride and Mike Slemons for hosting this event. They've been very gracious in their hospitality and allowing us to set up, again, here at the GMC signing ceremony. But, hey, without further ado, let's get to Coach Krause. Hopefully not too sleep-deprived, making the way back from Kansas City, a long trek to support Jackson Carmen. But, Coach, how are you doing? And thanks for being here, as always.
Doing great, Mike. Obviously, thank you for being here again and supporting our conference. And Chick-fil-A and Beacon have been great the last few years. And it's hard to believe that this is the 24th ceremony. It's been going on for a long time. This is my 15th, so it was going on before I got here.
Well, definitely. It's going to be a great time for families and friends of each and every one of these 10 GMC programs. Well, hey, let's get to it. Fairfield, obviously, the headline, as I wrote this morning on WCPO.com, we had a story on WCPO 9 Sports as well. Josiah Scott, 2017 Fairfield graduate, a player that you coached, obviously. He's going to be in Super Bowl 57, and I asked you this a little bit yesterday, Coach, but I know everybody wants to know just how proud you are of Josiah and this opportunity that he has to be on the biggest stage of football.
Very proud. Obviously, Josiah's an awesome young man, and he's done a great job. Obviously, was drafted by the Jaguars out of Michigan State and got traded to the Eagles a couple years ago. And he had a lot of playing time this year. Started like 8 games, and so he's been a huge part of what they're doing. So super proud of him and obviously the Eagles. And to get a second year in a row to have a Fairfield Indian in a Super Bowl is really exciting.
Definitely. I want to get to your 14 signees here overall for Fairfield this signing class. But Josiah, obviously a great example of perseverance, of character, of work ethic within your program. How much do you talk to your student athletes, maybe the seniors, maybe the underclassmen, about Josiah and just that example that he set for everybody within the Fairfield program?
Well, I think the great thing about Josiah was his persistence. He's a kid that didn't have a bunch of offers early. He didn't get his first offer until late summer his junior year. Those were the two Army and Navy, the service academies, and things started kind of rolling for him in the summer there, but he never wavered. He just kept working and grinding, and he's a great example to our kids that if you just do things right, man, good things are going to happen to you.
Well, let's go through your signees here. You have the longest list of anybody in the GMC, but I know it goes back to the early signing period in December, and you want to just start off with maybe talking about some of the players that maybe signed early and
sure.
Go on to that.
We had 4 guys in December that signed Division I, 2 of those mid-yeared. So Josiah Jackson went to West Virginia early, and James Thomas went to Bowling Green early. Talked to them both this week. They're doing great. Obviously, they've are getting ready to start spring ball, and they're in classes, and it's a really big advantage for those guys to go early. And I know a lot of our kids in the conference here have done that. We've been doing it for the last 7 or 8 years with our top kids. So 2 of those guys did go already. Ray Coney, obviously, is a very good basketball player. He's a big part of our program in hoops, so he stuck around. And Jordan Jackson, Josiah's twin brother, also stayed around, and he wanted to run track in the spring. Ray is going to East Tennessee State, and Jordan is going to West Virginia.
Great. And obviously you have several student athletes who have made commitments here in the last several weeks. So would you like to maybe just talk about some of these guys and
Sure.
what they've meant to your program?
Big signing day for us. It was a big senior class. We had 26 seniors overall, and 14 of these guys have made decisions at this point. And, there's always still a couple of guys floating around and going through some financial packages and things like that. But majority of these guys today are going to be Division II, NAIA guys. Good scholarship money to play football, and I think that's the bottom line for us, is to get guys the opportunity to go to school and help football pay the way. Some of the bigger schools that guys are going to today, I think, Kieran Love is going to sign. Well, he signed this morning. He signed with the University of Indianapolis. It's a very strong program. We've got a player there already, Brandon Smith, from a couple years ago, is playing there. We also had Isaiah Glover decide to sign with Walsh University this morning, which is another really good Division II program here in Ohio. The other ones, Notre Dame College, obviously, they've been on a really good run lately. They've won 5 straight conference championships up in the Cleveland area. And our long snapper, Matt Toledo, and linebacker Matthew Humbarger are signed with them this morning. So those are a couple of really good ones. A couple of late guys that made some late decisions were Colin Robinson just decided yesterday that he was going to commit and sign with Thomas More this morning. Colin's an offensive lineman for us. And then we do have 2 kids going to Central State. Central State's a Division II program up near Xenia. Kind of made a resurgence. Years ago they were really strong, and the program kind of settled down a little bit, and they've kind of come back in the area recruiting. And our linebacker, KV Bivens, is signed there, and Harrison Mensa, an offensive lineman. So two big opportunities for those guys to kind of stay close to home, but play really good Division II football.
You've done this for 15 years here in the GMC as far as being a participant in the ceremony, Coach. Does your message stay consistent each and every year to the signing class? Or what are your kind of words of wisdom, I guess, for a lot of these players who are beginning a new chapter in their life?
Right. I think the bottom line is, we want to see these guys go away, be successful, get their degree. That's the bottom line. Go finish. Things are going to be tough, no doubt about it. Most of us went through this ourselves, and we've had a lot of players go through it. And over the last 29 years that I've been coaching, a lot of kids go away and a lot of kids come home. So my number one message to these guys is, when it gets tough, lean on us, lean on whoever you need to get through those tough times, but stick it through, get that degree, and let football help you do that. So just finish.
Obviously, Fairfield fans would like to maybe get a quick preview of the 2023 season. I know your quarterback, Talon Fisher, going to come back, be a 4-year starter, obviously, which is huge for any program. Can you give us maybe what you like about the team right now?
Well, I'd say right now we're super excited about what's going on in the weight room, the offseason. One of the hardest working groups we've had. These guys just get it. They grind. They just work. They know we lost a lot of seniors. So it's time for some kids to step up. And we're seeing that right now in action in the weight room. Really like our skilled players on offense. Talon's going to have a lot of weapons this year, and obviously we want to stay balanced on offense. I know he led the conference in rushing last year, but this year his goal is to lead the conference in rushing and passing. And I think that's the kind of offense that we want to bring to the table. Defensively, we're kind of led by our Mike linebacker inside. Jordan Baker had a really good year, and we graduated a bunch on defense, and we're going to have some kids step up in the secondary and some guys up front on the D-line. But, those pieces are falling in place as we speak.
Fairfield will open up the season at Huber Heights Wayne to start things in August. Coach, really appreciate your time and perspective as always, and I want to give a shout-out to you specifically because you helped to organize the coach's schedule here for this WCPO High School Insider podcast. So thank you very much for everything you do.
Mike, thank you for everything you do.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Best of luck to you. Enjoy the day. That was Fairfield coach Jason Krause talking about his 2023 college signing class. 14 student athletes have signed to continue their academic and athletic career, and we are going to welcome in Hamilton coach Arvie Crouch here momentarily as Coach Crouch is going to talk about the Big Blue. And thanks again to Coach Krause for everything and setting up this ceremony.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. I want to remind everybody this WCPO High School Insider podcast is sponsored by your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Chick-fil-A restaurants. Click for free breakfast in the app February 13th through the 25th. And Two coaches right here who have players in Super Bowl 57, having a little bit of conversation as we bring Coach Crouch in the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. Good morning to you, Coach. How are you?
Hey, morning. How you?
Doing well.
Good.
Hey, we seen each other a lot here. As I was at school just last week talking about Brian Cook, and lo and behold, had quite an impact in the AFC Championship game. But
I was proud of him.
Tell us a little about, maybe get a little closer to the mic there, Coach. If you tell us before we get started about your signing day class, just how proud you are of Brian and just seeing him having this opportunity in his rookie season to play in Super Bowl 57.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of guy he is. He puts himself in a good situation all the time. And, you know, I just think back about how close he wasn't to getting an offer. You know, he got one offer from Howard. I had a buddy over there, and we Dominic Smith played there just before Brian and kind of paved the way for him to get a scholarship over there. So, you know, it ended up working out well. And then Brian's coach left at Howard, and then that opened the door for him to come to Cincinnati.
One thing that really struck me, Coach, in our conversation about Brian, just even leading up to the AFC Championship game, his character, his family. I think you even mentioned one of the assistant college coaches was saying, "Coach, is there anything I need to know about Brian?"
Well, I mean,
there's nothing there. He's a great human being.
All these guys, you know, I had an NFL team call me and ask me about him, and they made their rounds. And he called me again. He's like, "Is there anybody going to say anything bad?" And I'm like, "No. I mean, you're not going to find anything bad about the guy." And you know, he had a tough life, and he was focused, very intelligent, and you know, made sure that he was doing things right. And him growing a foot in one summer was a big deal. So
that helps.
You know, when I switched him to corner because at the time they were going after long corners. You know, and he was long, but he's probably a safety, to be honest. But I just wanted to put him in position to get recruited, and ended up working out.
Quite a journey, obviously. 2017 Mount Healthy graduate, was a third-team All-America by Pro Football Focus his senior season at UC, and then gets drafted by the Chiefs in the second round. Well, Coach, you're entering your second season. Let's talk about your Big Blue program, and let's talk about your four signees that you have today, and how proud you are of them continuing their academic and athletic careers.
Yeah, you know, it's been great experience. Missy Harvey and Mike Holbrook has did everything they can to help me get things in place over at Big Blue and get things going in the right direction. And I think the kids see the big change. I mean, not only in the style of how we do things, but the way it looks. You know, we've really cleaned up the weight room, and the weight room's you know, a different place to be honest. And I got my guys in there, and we're working hard, and the kids are buying in. And you know, I honestly think that we probably had 75% buy-in last year, you know, overall, and I think it hurt us a little bit. But you know, I think we're closing that gap. We've got a bunch of Hamilton kids coming up that are pretty good. We had one loss in the junior high in both teams, and looking forward to the future of Big Blue, and got the guys that really bleed with the blue jersey.
I was just going to say, you bleed Hamilton Big Blue, and
Yeah.
it's not just a cliche, but how
Yeah.
much is this? I mean, you are all about Hamilton. Tell me about what it means to you and your family to be coaching there at Hamilton.
Well, I grew up in a little small town, New Miami, outside of Hamilton, and you know, Big Blue was always the Big Blue, and you know, it was the big school around. But you know, I grew up in a steel town, and then you know, everybody knew everybody, and held each other accountable, and we were tough as nails, you know. And after I coached a few years in my hometown and made a couple stops, I ended up at Big Blue for 16 years and coached with Ed Menery and all them guys, and had a great career there as an assistant, and made history at Hamilton, and then finally got the opportunity to go to Mount Healthy, you know, and then finally get the opportunity to come back. So, you know, I told the kids the other day, you know, I've been here when it was real. You know, when we won the GMC, when we went to the playoffs the first time, when we beat Princeton the first time ever in school history, you know, I've seen it. So I know it can happen. So, you know, you guys, you know, anybody that's got doubt needs to leave. You know, because we're going to get this turned around, and it's up to them how fast it happens. You know, I think we could be a Fairfield type team right now that, you know, coming up and compete in every game. And we competed every game this year, except maybe West. And West got out on us early, but you know, we also held them for a few quarters too, and they didn't score nothing. So, you know, we're making some strides. We just development-wise, we wasn't there as far as physically and mentally. I think these kids, with the combination of just being a bad program and in the COVID situation, really hurt these kids that are coming up. So, with all that, we're cleaned all that up. We're running, we're humming right now. So kids are getting stronger. I tell the kids, and I try not to talk too much about, where I came from, but, we had running backs stronger than our O-linemen last year when I came in. So, we're getting that level of strength in the weight room right now. So now we just got to put it all together. I tell people everything came together in the program except the offense last year, and I got great coaches on the offense. It's just for some reason it just didn't come together, and we're going to get that taken care of this year.
Great. Coach, would you like to mention the guys that you have signing today and how proud you are of them?
Ebony Curry Jr., Youngstown State. I put on my list, my paper that, Ebony was a God's gift from the football gods. He transferred in from Lakota West and did an outstanding job for us. Tough, got a motor. You can't coach that, and he just got after it. And he could be a little thicker, a little stronger, but he ended up being really good for us and ended up second team GMC All-City going to Youngstown State. Gabe Verdon, most of the people in this area knows the Verdons, and, his older brother plays at Iowa State. Younger brother's a killer. He's going to be unbelievable. Already got an offer from Pitt.
2025 defensive lineman Trey.
Yeah, Trey Verdon. Gabe's going to have a good career. I think, he's got to work on his fast twitch, and when he gets into college here, and I think that hurt him a little bit getting recruited, but from the big schools. But he's super intelligent and a hard worker, great leader. So he's going to be a doctor someday. And he's just one of them guys that's just super intelligent and just going to get it done. And there's no way he's going to be not have success in whatever he wants to do. So really proud of him going to Lock Haven. Caden Bennett was second team GMC last year. We came in and he really worked his tail off, to be honest. He was probably one of the first kids that bought into our program and worked really hard and, smart guy and tough guy. He's a tough guy. So probably underdeveloped a little bit, as far as strength and stuff like that, and that's what happens sometimes when you take over a program. But I feel like if there's a couple guys on that football team, I feel like if I'd have had for 3 years, they'd be going big time. And he's one of them guys. He's just a tough kid, and he's just taking a different route. He doesn't have the great GPA or the ACT, so he's going to go to Flight Prep Academy, and he's going to be great there, and he's going to get it together with academically and all that stuff. And he's not too bad academically, honestly, but I think he just needs another year of development to get him to where he needs to be, and he's going to be a strong player for somebody in the future. It's just a great kid, had a rough life, and his mom takes care of him, and it's just him and her, and I think he's got a sister, and he's just a great kid, and I'm looking forward to see what happens for him. Jalen Garrett is pound for pound probably one of the best players I've ever coached, and I've seen him out of that. He's got a little frame, but I've seen him knock people silly. I coached some lackeys at Mount Healthy, and he reminded me a lot of them. He's just a little smaller than them, and they weren't very tall, but they were thick. And he's just a safety man. He's gonna surprise some people, and so just got to get it together with his academics and prove he can do it in college, and somebody will pick him up in a couple of years, and they'll have a good football player at a big time level.
That's great, Coach. Give us a little preview, maybe, of a little snapshot of 2023 Big Blue football.
We're opening up. It sounds like we might be into the Crosstown Showdown, and that's a great thing. We're playing Baden, our rival. It's going to be a rival for us, and we're in Hamilton there, and Baden's in Hamilton. So we set that up. And Yordy's one of my former coaches at Mount Healthy, and he's done a great job over there at Baden. And I couldn't have thought of a better opening game for my program and his program, and in the situation we are, and so. We'll see what happens, and that's going to be pretty exciting. And I think we got a chance to be good next year. I think in 2 years we're going to be legit competition, But I think we can be pretty good next year too, and maybe surprise some things and surprise ourselves, surprise some people. And surprise some of our kids and try to pull out of that mold that we've been in at Hamilton about just getting out of that loser mentality and overcoming some things. This team that this past year we were down by 6 at Princeton, at half against Princeton. We're down by 7 at half against Fairfield. These guys just didn't know how to pull it together, and put it together. I think we got out-coached a couple games in the second half, and I think overall the program came together except the offense, and if we can get that taken care of, we're going to be able to compete with anybody in the GMC.
Definitely sounds like a strong outlook for the Big Blue. Coach, I really appreciate your time and perspective, and all the best to Hamilton going forward.
Appreciate you having me, like
Thank
always.
you, Coach.
Thanks, man.
Enjoy the ceremony.
Yeah.
That was Hamilton coach Arvie Crouch talking about the Big Blue. And up next, we're going to have new Colerain coach Carl Huber joining the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm good, Jill.
Your debut on the podcast here.
Yeah.
You're not nervous, are you?
No. If I made it through what we went through a couple weeks ago, this is nothing.
It was great to see you get introduced there in the school auditorium.
That was awesome.
First of all, let's just maybe talk before we talk about today's signing day ceremony, how things have been for you the past few weeks. And I know you have a lot of college coaches coming in the building, and it's got to be a whirlwind. But tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a great experience. I'm extremely excited. I'm thankful. Obviously did introductions that day with the kids. They were excited. They're ready to get back to it. Been working on adding the staff, building staff, getting the weight room back to where we need to be. Intense, fast-paced workouts, getting after it like we do in the weight room. We love our off-season lifts. It's where we like to hang our hat on our off-season lifting stuff. So right now we're grinding it out 4 days a week, getting after it. So it's great. It's been super busy. I got introduced on that Monday, and then recruiting season started on that Friday, and I feel like everybody in the country wanted to stop in and just meet the new guy in town. And first-time head coach at a prestigious school like Colerain, that's an honor. Everybody wants to get in. They want to meet me. They want to know who I am, because we do have tremendous athletes in our school building and have produced some amazing college players as well over the past years. So they want to get in, get to know me a little bit, what the direction of the program's going to go. Talk about some of the guys we got currently. So it's been busy. It's been extremely busy, but it's been a good busy. It's been fun. I've been enjoying it. So.
And as we've talked before, I know how much this program means to you. You being a Northwest High School graduate, just growing up, knowing the culture, the tradition there at Colerain High School in terms of football. And I guess you mentioned a game plan that you had given Athletic Director Matt Stornoff during the interview process and all that. But what's kind of your vision, just I guess here as you kind of get ready for spring and summer and
so
get ready
right
to take
now
your first season?
Like I mentioned, we're grinding 4 days a week in the weight room right now, and so the big thing we're doing is we're getting back to I call it bulking season. We're buying into the process. We're getting after it. We're doing those extra little things that we don't think anybody else is wanting to do, and so we're going the extra mile, we like to say. And so that's where we're at right now. It's just the buy-in, everybody there holding each other accountable, making sure that we're pushing through those final reps. We're not cutting it short or 8 or 9 when we're supposed to be going 10. We're all the way through touching the line and everything we're doing behind the line, and those little extra small details, and just getting everybody bought in, holding each other accountable, and just building the process.
How's that been received? What's been the reception?
Oh, it's been great. The kids are, they love it. Kids perform to their expectations, and so when we set extremely high expectations to them, the kids are going to do everything they can to achieve those expectations. So we're going to set the bar extremely high and not be something that we can always achieve. And so, but the kids are doing a great job. They've bought in. They're excited. They're getting on their classmates and everybody else that's that was on the bubble. And numbers are growing every day. We're adding more kids, new kids that have never even experienced football before. So it's fun. It's been great.
Well, tell us a little bit about Donovan. He's going to be signing with Wagner University, or he already did sign with Wagner University.
Yes, this morning.
Tell us about him.
So Donovan is a great guy, amazing athlete. He's been a 2-year starter for his first team all GMC this year, playing corner. He was that dude that when they had a stud receiver on the other team. He was on Saturday morning after the game. He said, "Hey, they got so-and-so. I want to guard. I want want to guard him. I want to guard him. And, so he stepped up big time for us. He did some amazing things for us, and really was able to isolate him into our boundary corner, and put him on those guys that could potentially make mismatches with his length and his size at 6'1" at corner and can run with anybody. So it was extremely an honor to have him. Like I mentioned this morning, he defines what a student athlete is. And so, great GPA. He's always one of the first ones at the facility working out, and he's one of the last ones at the facility working out as well, doing those extra things, those ladder drills, finding someone to go one-on-ones with, something running 40s, whatever it is to make
the coach's dream.
Yeah,
so to
exactly.
Speak, right?
Exactly, doing all those extra miles, going above and beyond what a traditional kid would do.
Great. Well, as we look ahead to the fall, I realize it's only February 1st, but what do you like most about the Cardinals? Besides getting after it in the weight room and everything, I know you have some really talented players coming back. Quarterbacks A. Jennings, 2024 defensive back Corey Myrick. Can you talk about those guys a little bit?
Yeah, so, we have some great guys coming back. The talent is no shortage there, and Zay and Myrick, those dudes they do what they do, as we say. They're special athletes. They're built different. They some of the things that they can do, us normal, typical guys aren't able to do. And we got a few other guys that, in the 24 class as well that are able to do a bunch of things, like our tight end H-back Ilya. He's a massive 6'3", 6'4", 240 pounds, and we're just, we're really starting to fill him out big time. So, we got some amazing, of those 24 guys, and we also got some 25s as well that I'm excited about in the future. That really stepped up, and they played a lot of football for us. So those guys, the nice thing about Zay, Myrick, Satterwhite, Jordan Campbell, those kind of guys in the 25 or in the 24 classes, they got a lot of experience. A lot of those guys are 2-year starters, so they've played a lot of football on Friday nights. And so, that old saying, the more sophomores, the more losses, or whatever you mean. So they got a lot of experience playing football on Friday nights that's going to really benefit us this fall, because they've been through a lot of scenarios and a lot of different games.
When the college coaches come through, what are you saying about these guys and their character, work ethic, and
Yeah, I'm just talking to them about how they are in their classroom. We're talking about grades, work ethic, how they are in the weight room. Are they a leader? Are they going to push somebody? Are they going to push their teammate? Or are they going to, talking about how they, do those extra steps, those extra miles, what kind of person they are, would I let them babysit my kids or not? That's always one of my favorite sayings. This is a kid I would let babysit my kid. This is how great of a person they are. And so those are just kind of our conversations.
Great, Coach. Well, really appreciate your time and perspective. Looking forward to having more conversations as we get ready for the season in August, and obviously all throughout the Cardinals season. Colerain with 4 consecutive playoff appearances, and head coach Carl Huber, we really appreciate your time here on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
Anytime. Enjoy the ceremony. Yep. Thanks, Coach. That was Colerain head coach Carl Huber, kind enough to join us here on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. A reminder, this WCPO High School Insider Podcast is sponsored by your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Chick-fil-A restaurants, supporting our hometown athletes. And we're going to transition now to Princeton head coach Andre Parker. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks again for joining me here on the podcast. And, hey, we definitely want to talk some Vikings football here. And first of all, I guess before we get into all your signees, how's everything gone for you and the team this offseason?
We're working really, really hard. Have a lot of kids coming back, so we're excited about the future.
Great. And obviously several signees here for that go back to the early signing period in December. So would you like to talk about some of these guys and what they've meant to the program the past few years?
I'll start with Caleb Marshall. He's a linchpin for us. He's a guy that set the tone. I've known Caleb since he was about 2 years old, so it has a different type of meaning for me. Great young man, even better worker, and he communicates with me weekly. And first, the workouts were hard in college. He sent me a text last week, said, "I got it."
That says it all, right?
Yeah. So he, very, very proud of him, a 4.0 high school student. And so I could talk about Caleb forever.
Coach, can I stop you there? What's it like when student athletes enroll early? I mean, it's become so common, it's not a rarity anymore, but what's that transition like? How do you help advise them through that?
I think it depends on the individual. So some of our kids are more mature, and you really the last part of their high school senior year, they're just really wasting it. They've already gotten their credits. They've already done everything they need to do. So a lot of time it's just kind of stagnant. So if the kid is mature and he's a great student and the parents are with it, I suggest they go ahead and get started. It gives them a whole semester of college credits. Then you throw the summer classes in there. Now we're talking about graduating early and, just getting acquainted. So you don't have to start your freshman year taking your first college course and having your first college season. Because that is a grind. So to be able to do it during the spring when you're supposed to be in high school, it's priceless to me.
Great. Obviously, Phillip Daniels, your outstanding offensive lineman up in Minnesota. Hopefully not too much colder than weather we have right now, but you talk about Phillip and what he meant to the program.
He's going to have to get a big coat because Minnesota is a little different. Phillip is a kid I'm very proud of just to see him grow from when he's come into the program to where he is now, and the way he goes about his work. Just a great young man who brings his hard hat every single day. He wants to be better, and he hasn't even scratched the surface. Only been playing offensive line for 2 years, and to go into a program like Minnesota where they develop offensive linemen on a regular basis, I'm really, really excited for him.
And obviously, the school up north has linebacker Breon Ishmael, who has a bright future ahead of him, obviously.
Yeah, so Breon's still here with us, and I'm happy. Breon is an unbelievable athlete. But the thing I always tell people is he's an even better young man. And I had the pleasure of getting to know him this past year and spending time with him. And he's been a pleasure to be around. Breon has a chance to play on Sundays. If he can go in and stay humble and continue to work and grow as a young man and as a student, the sky's the limit for him. He does some things that I haven't seen other kids be able to do.
I'm sorry, Coach, I didn't mean to interrupt. What have the Michigan coaches said to you about him that they're really impressed with?
Oh, they're just really excited to get him. There's 3 or 4 different positions they can play him at. He fits into their system. They like to be multiple. He played multiple sports in high school, so he checked all their boxes for things that they like.
Great. And obviously, you have several other signees too. Who would you like to highlight next on that list?
I'll take a kid like Blake Howard. Blake Howard is like a 3.8 student, and he waited his time. Blake had to sit his sophomore year behind D1 linebackers. Junior year, just had to switch position to get on the field. Senior year, so Blake is really, he's the epitome of what Princeton football is about. He's had to take his time. He's worked. He's been diligent. The whole time being a great student, and the whole time being an unbelievable long snapper. So now he gets a chance to go play at a Division I college at playing linebacker and may even get to snap the ball. And I just like that he stood in there and he just kept getting better and better and better.
What's that versatility like to have that at that level in college?
I think the way the game is played nowadays, you have to be versatile because offenses are going to run really fast. They're going to move really fast. They're going to give you different personnel groupings in and out. They're going to split tight ends in and out. So you have to be able to play 2 to 3 different positions and be comfortable in your skill.
Great. I know you have some players. They're going to stay in state and also regionally here. Zion Mason to Thomas More, Riley Woods going to Tiffin. What can you say about some of those guys?
So Zion is already gone. He's already at Thomas More, so really excited about that. Being able to not go too far from home into a program that's really budding and growing under coach, and they're really investing in a program. So him being able to be on the building blocks of that, I think is pretty exciting. And then Riley and Amari, Riley has been a 3-year starter for basketball, 3-year starter for football. For him to be able to go to Tiffin and play in a wide open offense, I can't wait to see it. I think he's going to put up great numbers. And Amari Thomas, he's just a worker. He's a kid that transformed his body. He reinvented himself. He bought into what we were selling. He gets to go play college football. What else can you say?
Coach, obviously a 9-3 record this past season. Can you give us a little preview of what you like about the Vikings as you look toward the 2023 season?
So we were in a completely different situation this year than we were last year. So last year I think we had 4 returning starters on the whole team. And this year we've got a lot of starters returning. And my coaching staff was really excited about that, so we can build on it. So we had to replace 10 defensive starters and 7 on offense. That's a tough task. And, 9-3 is good, but we didn't feel like we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. So it's up to the next group to build on what the seniors have laid down for us and, keep building the program.
Who's really emerged for you from a leadership aspect?
I think guys like Solomon Thomas, I think Paul Nelson. Coach, to be honest, I think it's a huge group. It's not. I can pick names, but as a whole, I think it feels a little different. I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think, they want to put, and they're pushing each other more than we have. So I'm excited about that.
Great. What's your non-conference game this year?
We're not sure yet.
Okay.
We're not sure yet.
Still
I can
TBD,
tell you what,
right?
I figured out, week 2 we go right in the GMC and we got West, and we get hit early with our GMC schedule early. But I've learned at this point week 1 is going to be a doozy. So, we'll be ready for it.
Coach, I've known you for many, many years. You never back down to anybody. So one thing that is certain
we'll
for your schedule.
We got a couple things we're working on. We'll see what that will.
Great. Coach Andre Parker, really appreciate your time as always. Best of luck to the Vikings.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Thank you. Princeton head coach Andre Parker, kind enough to join us here on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. Again, the 24th annual GMC National Signing Day ceremony here at the Delta Marriott in Sharonville. And we are going to speak with Lakota West head coach Tom Bolden here momentarily. But for now, we're going to maybe continue to talk about some of these great student athletes who have made a signing here today, or even back to early December. 40 student athletes have signed a national letter of intent, again, going back to the early signing period, which started in mid-December. That's been around since 2017, the NCAA having that opportunity for those student athletes 3 days in December, usually right before the Christmas break, to have that chance to ink with a college program of their choice. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Power 5 schools, as it were. It could be any time you can make a commitment. And signing, as we all know, the coaching carousel and everything that's going on now with college football recruiting, including NIL. I mean, it is just it's hard to kind of keep everything on the right path and keep everything straight as far as these high school head coaches go. So they certainly do. If you follow high school football, I mean, you see some of these tweets from these college coaches or from the high school coaches showing the volume of college coaches that come into these high schools, and it could be overwhelming. I'm talking to a lot of coaches, not necessarily for on the record story or anything, but some of these coaches will just show up, and you have to be flexible, you have to be versatile. Again, it's all about the opportunities at the next level. As Fairfield coach Jason Krause mentioned to me several times, that's our number one job. Yes, we want to win games. Yes, we want to be successful. We want to be up in Canton in that first weekend in December, winning the state championship and hoisting that hardware. But at the end of the day, it is about the opportunity to have a scholarship offer and take advantage of that from not only an athletic standpoint, but an academic standpoint as well. As we wait here for Lakota West head coach Tom Bolden, again, we spoke earlier with Fairfield head coach Jason Krause, Hamilton head coach Arvie Crouch, and also new Colerain head coach Carl Huber. They were kind enough to join us here on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. We are live on YouTube and Facebook Live. Be sure to like us. Be sure to give a comment. What would you like to see? What are your thoughts on this podcast and what we do throughout the entire season? A shout out to Brian Neese, who's been producing this podcast for quite some time, as we started this back in 2016 at WCPO. And we do a special episode, if not more, every week during the high school football season from August through December. We also are kind enough to be invited to some Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Chick-fil-A restaurants at the end of July and early August. Usually we're over in Fort Mitchell and highlighting Beechwood and Covington Catholic. We've also been at the Kenwood Town Center, highlighting Sycamore and Indian Hill and Moeller, and also the Western Hills location on Glenway Avenue with Elder, Oak Hills, Western Hills. We've had quite an opportunity to obviously highlight these high school football programs and these coaches, and it's certainly something that we are internally grateful for each and every school year. And again, we're here at the 24th Annual GMC Signing Day Ceremony here at the Delta Marriott on Chester Road in Sharonville, and we're going to hopefully talk to Lakota West coach Tom Bolden, also Mason coach Brian Kastner. I want to ask Brian about adding two longtime head coaches to his staff this offseason, including Tony Akuri and Kent McCullough. Some big-time additions for the Comets there. Also, Sycamore coach Scott Dattilo is going to be kind enough to join us, talking about the Aviators, and Lakota East coach Rick Haynes. He's been at this a very long time. He's always a wealth of information and has a great perspective on the high school game. Oak Hills coach Justin Roden, who was the not only the district, the Southwest District Division I Coach of the Year, but the GMC Coach of the Year this past season, leading the Highlanders to the playoffs, a third consecutive playoff appearance. He's going to be kind enough to join us as well. And also Middletown coach Don Simpson is going to talk about the middies and their signees for this 2023 class. And if you look through this list here as you arrive at the Delta Marriott, I mean, you're going to see some quite a few names that you're going to be recognizing on Saturdays and Sundays. That's not going on a limb by any stretch. I mean, you're seeing some ultra-talented football players at a lot of different positions that are going to be playing at the highest level and beyond. And it's one of those things where, you know, you just never know when your opportunity is there, whether it be a program like Ohio State or Michigan or Notre Dame. Lo and behold, now with the transfer portal, other opportunities for student athletes at the Division II, Division III level, NAIA level as well. But, well, here we go. We have Mason coach Brian Kastner entering the room here, the grand entrance with the green tie. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Thanks. So thanks for joining us, as always, here on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. We're live here as we have the camera. And
all right.
Yeah, we're ready to go here. And I was just talking about you and the tweet.
Now, I'm not late, right?
You are not late. You were ahead of the game.
That's right.
we won't say the coach from Westchester Township who we're looking for. But,
Initials with TB, you know.
But Coach, thanks for joining us. And hey, to start off with, before we talk about your signees from this 2023 class, you've had some big-time additions to your coaching staff this offseason. Tell us about Kent McCullough and Tony Akuri.
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate right now to be able to get a hold of Kent and lead our defense. He's actually at the state clinic for the next 3 days and been in direct contact with him now for a couple weeks, and just real excited to see him lead our defense and lead Team 62. And then Tony Akuri, his 20-plus years of high school experience and being a head coach at Indian Hill, being able to grab him and put him in the defensive side as well. So it's exciting stuff. We're looking for a D-line coach. So we're going to go through some interviews, but we got some great people. We've been very fortunate at Mason High School to be able to grab people like that.
So is Lou Anarumo a candidate as defensive line coach?
We'll try. We'll try anything. No,
we're
very fortunate with Tony and Kent.
Yeah, great. Well, tell us a little bit about this offseason. Coming off a 10-3 record, regional semifinalist. Tell us what the energy is like in the weight room right now.
Energy's off the charts. We had a speed session this morning at 6:30 a.m. and at the end I looked at them, because we go month to month, and I just said, guys, we had great years in the past. I said, but this January, and I don't know if it was the momentum from our season or what, but the kids' eyes are filled with coach me, get me, get after me, and I told them at the end, I said, this is the best January we've had in 14 years of being around. And so obviously the big thing to that is can you pick up with February and match it or build off of that. So it's been great. Kids have been awesome.
Well, great. Tell us a little bit about the guys you have signing, who have already signed, obviously.
So we got
athletes.
I got Jake Bates. We'll start off with him. He's top of the list. Jake is top 1% in my coaching career. I've said that now for about a year. 28 years of coaching high school football. He was the top 1%. Might be, just because of his work ethic and who he was as a leader, as a man. He's 5'9", 187, and he's going to go play at Ball State. And they had a coach over the last, 2 months, defense coordinator or a coach at Mason High School, making sure that they did not lose him, and they're looking to make sure he makes an impact soon. Love him. He played linebacker, running back. He did everything. Caden Davis, West Point, that came last week. The head coach came through on, I think, Wednesday and kind of locked him in, and Caden just couldn't turn that down, and I'm excited for Caden and his growth. He's long. I think that's what Coach Munkin was really, really excited about, is just his length. And so he's excited about representing our country as well. We keep a list every week of our kids that are playing in college, but also we keep a list of, and we have 20-some that are serving our country, and we have that list that goes out weekly. So we take a lot of pride in that, so Caden will be added to that list. Ben Fosnot, Youngstown State. Coach Phillips, former UC coach, is up there leading. He's doing a really good job, and I think Ben's excited about what can happen with him. The last 6'7", 235-pound guy that left us started 4 years at Purdue. He's going to play a 5th year this year, but Ben's excited to follow in those footsteps and hopefully match that man's work ethic. Weston Simmons, he's going to University of Cincinnati. He's going to be a long snapper, and I think potentially help out some on some other special teams as well, according to Coach Combs. Coach Combs is really excited about having him down there. 2 years, not one bad snap, and he tracks the punter. The punt returner very well. That was the headline of his highlights, not just the great snaps, but getting down and making tackles. So all 4 great young men. Very, very fortunate to be able to coach them for 3-4 years now, and looking forward to seeing what they do.
What's it been like to have these college coaches come in? I know they do this every year, but is there a reoccurring theme that they really love about Mason football and recruiting the Comets?
I think whether they're getting a scholarship or even going as a preferred walk-on, they're making an impact within 2 years. And they like the blue-collar workman type mentality. They know they've went through a lot of the similar stuff that they're doing right now at the collegiate level that we're doing. I mean, a 6:30 speed workout today. We do those every year. We're working out 4 days a week. A lot of things that are similar to what they do at the collegiate level, and it has gotten harder. It has got harder with the portal.
Sure.
So that's a big talking point right now, and even the college coaches complain about it, but it's like, when will they fix that? But it's been awesome. We've had good traffic. Love always have more, but it's been good traffic, and after being a head coach for 14 years, you create those connections with guys you want your players to play for. So you seek them out first and see if there's a fit. So you're always looking for the fit.
What type of guidance do you say? What's your message to these guys? You've been doing this for a long time. Is it consistent each and every year? I mean, obviously it's a new chapter for all these student athletes.
I think the biggest thing that I share with, like, even I shared with Jake yesterday because he was, I think 2 days ago, Jake Bates, I said, don't change. You're gonna fall into certain groups, whether it's the linebacker group or the freshman group. You be you. You got to be you, and your work ethic will match, if not beat, anybody's at Ball State, and you'll prove that and you'll show that. But don't take a backseat to anybody. And you got to be aggressive, but you've got to know what you're going into. And he's going into the MAC conference where we have a former player, Cole Pierce, who ended up being a preferred walk-on there, and they scholarshiped him a couple years ago. And he can lead them for a year because he's a captain. He's a guy that will lead Jake. And, he needs to make sure he follows Cole a little bit, but also be you. That's why you chose Ball State, and so on down the road. Ben is growing. Weston, comes from a football family. and Caden Davis's dad played at Mason, so they're all going to be excited about their football life in college.
Since you have a UC signing, I'm just kind of curious. What are your impressions of Coach Satterfield?
I met him one time. I think he's different. He's different than Luke. We've been with Luke for so long, but I think Coach Satterfield's going to do a good job. He's able to keep Coach Combs, and he got Coach Manning, who I think Tom is going to be a really good addition offensively. Tom worked at Toledo and then Iowa State, but at Toledo he really was engaged with Mason players in a high school in the Cincinnati area. Tom Manning, I think, is going to do just fine. He recruited Elijah Nkansa, who ended up playing at Toledo and then played in the league. But he's got some very good coaches. So it'll be a little bit different mentality, but it'll be interesting how it unfolds.
Great. And finally, Coach, give us a little snapshot what you like most about the 2023 Comets.
Well, our eyes, man, I tell you, this morning and throughout the month of January, our eyes, they're hungry, and it's just trying to maintain that hungriness for 6, 7, 8 months. And I looked at a couple kids in the workouts today because we see them throughout the day as well, and I'm just like, man, let's have the season here soon. But
right.
we got some work to get in, and so we're optimistic. We got to replace a quarterback. We got to replace some important positions defensively, and we got a couple new, obviously coaches. So it's going to be exciting, and the momentum we got to keep that going from last year, and just real excited.
Coach, really appreciate your time and perspective as always. Best of luck to the Comets.
Yep.
Thank
Mike,
you, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you. That was Mason coach Brian Kastner. Coach, you get a couple Chick-fil-A gift cards here, too. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And I think we're going to bring in Lakota West coach Tom Bolden here momentarily on the WCPO High School Insider podcast. And, again, we want to thank everybody at Chick-fil-A for the opportunity to do this podcast, 24th annual GMC signing day ceremony here at the Delta Marriott. How are you, Coach? Good to see you.
Wonderful, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Well, hey, let's get to it.
Yeah. Thanks for working it out.
I
was
appreciate
running
it.
around
Hey,
crazy at
no
school,
problem at
so
all. Hey,
yeah,
that's okay. What do you like before we talk about your signees? What do you like about this offseason and how you guys are getting after it?
we're getting after it really good. I mean, we're we were fortunate enough to play so late, so our 28 days, it worked out where we started when we got back from break. So, we're 4 day a week, get after it. We do all ours after school. I just like having my guys, everybody there. I don't have to worry about tracking kids down in the morning and things like that. So, but we're Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, just lifting a lot of weights. So, getting them big and strong. So.
Great. What do you like most about this group that's going to be returning? I know it's only February 1st, but what are your impressions?
Defensively, we got a ton back. So, obviously, we're missing 3 of the 4 in the back end, but we're still going to be crazy talented back there as well. So, but we only lose 1 in the front 7. So, defensively, we got a lot back. They'll carry us early on. Offensively, got quite a few playmakers back. I got some quarterbacks who I think can do it from the neck down, from the physical standpoint. It will just be if we can get the game to slow down for them, get them to play in the chaos and things like that.
I know you've talked about your early signees from December, but hey, let's maybe kind of summarize that group and how they're doing and if they've enrolled early.
Yeah, no. So 2 of the 3 enrolled early. Josh will be here today, but Ben Minnick enrolled early at Notre Dame, and Malik Hartford enrolled early at Ohio State. So they're up there getting after it, enjoying that college life, or pretty much they're not really experiencing the college life. It's just class and football. So, but it was good for them to get up there. This past class was unbelievably squared away, this senior class, in terms of academics and attitude and effort and, everything that they brought to the school in the hallways and the classrooms and things like that. So, Malik and Ben have put themselves in a situation where they were able to graduate early. Actually, Mitchell was too, but obviously West Point doesn't take the early enrollees, so he'll be able to play baseball this spring, which he's excited about with the baseball coach. But so they put themselves in good positions. They're up there getting after it, and they'll have that advantage on the other kids that couldn't get up there early.
What's your guidance to those guys? I know this is nothing new.
It's one of those things. I was with my sons. One of them went early, the other one did not. It just all depends. Some kids playing a spring sport, want to finish that out in their spring sport. Other kids want to get up there early and get the advantage on kids. It's one that I would just being in this for so long and doing this. If you're not a spring sport kid, it would, if you have the opportunity to go early, I would suggest go early. Sure. It just gets you so much of a head start on the other kids.
On the other hand, Mitch playing baseball without having the opportunity to maybe talk to him, what's that mean to him?
Oh, he'll be excited about it. He's been playing on the varsity since he was a sophomore there, so I'm happy to. I get a chance to watch him play, and it's from a different. I sit way out in the outfield, so I just get to be a dad with it and things like that. So that'll be really cool one last time to get to watch him play some high school ball. So selfishly, I'm glad they didn't take him early.
What was the process like of thinking about today? You're usually a coach that doesn't need the microphone to address the audience.
No, I won't do it again today. Small enough room.
Right. But still, it's got to be near and dear to your heart to see Mitch.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's going to be it's a special day, but it'll be obviously a little bit more special because of that. Actually, having my own son part of it and him choosing the path that he has chose, which isn't easy, but. Boy, the opportunity and stuff like that lies ahead for him is remarkable. So, it'll be special. It'll probably be just kind of, I'll go through it probably normal today and all that, but a little bit tonight when things kind of settle in, I'll reflect on it a little bit more. But, sure proud of him. And it'll be a little weird. I remember telling at the banquet, I think next year will be the first time in almost 15 years that I haven't coached one of my sons or a nephew.
Wow.
So it'll be a bit different football season next year. And obviously having Mitch as a 4-year starter quarterback, I told whoever wins the starting job, good luck with that, because I'll probably treat him like my own son for the first part. So it may not be an easy route for whoever wins that.
I'm sure you're going to have an opportunity to see Mitch's games as much as possible.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? We still have Luke has his 1 year left at Miami of Ohio, so Lisa and I are going to probably have to split, and we'll have to sit down and figure that out. The fortunate thing, it's a direct flight to 3 different airports that are close to West Point, and I can get out early enough on a Saturday morning. I got a great coaching staff. We do most of our game plan stuff on Sundays anyway. So I got a great coaching staff that can handle all the other stuff on Saturdays for me.
I'd like to talk about Mr. Intensity here, Aaron Ko, going to Mount St. Joseph University.
So Aaron's a young man. His brother, you would remember, played at Moeller, played slot at Moeller. Aaron's a young man who he does everything and anything that you would ask. He's the consummate team player. He played a ton for us on special teams and things like that, and just plays with a high motor. Outside linebacker, can play inside linebacker. At one point, we thought he was so athletic and quick and strong that we could put him down and let him angle in our odd front stuff. So he will go there. He will exceed well. Comes from a wonderful family. Dad's a police officer. Mom's a wonderful one. Just a squared away family unit. So I'm looking for big things at him at Mount St. Joe.
And before I let you go, give us a little snapshot about the 2023 Firebirds, and you're gonna open up with St. X.
Yeah, so open up St. X. Yeah. Actually, we're going to have an interesting. We'll know where we're at early, because even in our scrimmages, we'll have Anders, we'll have Elder, our first scrimmage, and then actually Whitten Woods this year is our second scrimmage. Okay. So Chad and I talked, thought it'd be great. We're real close, and all those dudes that they got will help us out tremendously to find out what we got early, and open up there with St. X and getting after it again, going to Balaban Field to get to Lockheads with Coach Speck and those boys again. So it'll be awesome. And then I think within the first 3 games, we've got Fairfield, Princeton. So it'll be we'll know what we got early, I guess, but I'm looking forward to it.
Great stuff, Coach. As always appreciate your time, and enjoy the ceremony today.
Absolutely, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, bud.
That was Lakota West head coach Tom Bolden, believe it or not, entering his 5th season there in Westchester Township. Firebirds were 13-1, a regional finalist this past season, and certainly primed for success again. And we are going to move on. We're going to skip ahead to Sycamore coach Scott Dattilo here the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. And Coach, how are you doing?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Doing well.
Good to see you.
We are live here on YouTube and Facebook Live, and certainly want to highlight the Aviators and your kicker who has made a signing today. And let's talk about Tucker here and what made University of Findlay such a great fit for him.
Yeah, no, Tucker's a great kid, and I think what makes him so unique is his work ethic. I mean, he's a tireless worker. In the weight room, at practice. Sometimes often, doing too much and injuring himself or having a sore groin or leg or what have you. But in high school a lot, and we've been fortunate up until this year to have a coach for our kickers. Well, he wasn't able to do it this year, and Tucker took it upon himself to, do the work required to, to learn the right forms. He helped with our younger kickers, but all throughout practice, he's down there doing drills and doing kicking. He also served as our punter this year. Now he won't be doing that at Findlay, but if I had to categorize him in a word, it would be a worker.
How did you relay that to the Findlay coaches? I mean, they had been really impressed with hearing all of that.
Absolutely. I talked to them a little bit about all that, and I think they enjoyed that part. They invited him up for a workout just the end of last week, and he walked out of there with an offer. So clearly he impressed them enough, one, with his kicking, but then also with the kind of competitor and person he is. And I think to get that sort of honor coming off of a season that we had it's always an accomplishment, but it's even more of an accomplishment when you may not have the multitude of field goal, extra point opportunities, kickoff opportunities. So the impression he made with them in person was huge.
That's great. Tell us a little bit about the off season and how things are going in the weight room and just kind of the mentality going into next year.
Yeah, moving forward, we got a lot to improve on, obviously, but we got the guys to do it with. Part of struggling the way we did last year was our youth and inexperience. We had starting sophomores at left tackle, important position. Middle linebacker, important position. Free safety, important position, and half the year at quarterback. And, most years you don't have sophomore starters. We had 4 of them, and then juniors all over the place. So we return a lot, which is a positive. But there's some things we got to fix and work on, and the kids have been doing a great job of recognizing that. We've talked about it. We got to improve our size. We have to improve our strength, and they've been great working at those things. And we have to improve some intangible characteristics too that affect our culture, and the kids know that, and they've been on board getting it done.
Anybody in particular that's really emerged from a leadership standpoint that you really like?
Our we have 3 captains named already, and there'll probably be more named, and they all play a winter sport. So, they're not in the weight room with us right now because they're on the wrestling mats and on the basketball court and things like that. So, but a lot of players have stepped up as leaders. It's kind of a quiet senior group that does things by example. Okay, until we get those guys back from their in-season sport. So it's been a real serious group, business-oriented group, getting it done, and we're off to a great start. 2 months in, 5 months to go, and until we start getting on the field. So it's been good so far.
I'm sorry, Coach. Who do you open up with non-conference?
Yeah, we open up with Kings again. So obviously they're coming off of a
memorable
maybe
season, sure.
Maybe the best season in their school's history, and it was a very very telling right out of the gate. Our young team going against their senior-laden team, and we will use that as an example for us moving forward as a senior-dominated team next year.
Great. Sycamore coach Scott Dattilo, really appreciate your time, and best of luck to the Aviators.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Mike.
Coach. Good
Appreciate
to see you.
all you do,
Give you
buddy.
a couple Chick-fil-A gift cards here,
All
Coach.
right,
before
we'll
you
take them.
Enjoy the ceremony.
Yep. Thank
You're always
you
so
much.
kind to join us at the Kenwood Town Center, too, so we really appreciate it.
Hoping to do it again.
Definitely. It's
All right,
on our
thanks,
schedule.
Mike.
Thank you, Coach. That was Sycamore coach Scott Dattilo. And we're going to bring up Lakota East coach Rick Haynes.
What's going on?
How are you, Coach? Good to see you. We are live here on YouTube and Facebook Live here at the Delta Marriott on Chester Road in Sharonville for the 24th annual GMC signing day ceremony. And all right, we're going to be joined by the Chick-fil-A mascot here.
There we go.
Hey, how about that? We're getting some elite company. Coach, I'm going to give you a couple gift cards while we're at it here, too.
Thank you.
Have a break in our discussion. But what's signing day like for you, Coach? Realize that obviously the early signing period in mid-December, and it's been like that for quite a few years.
Right.
But how nice is it to get everybody together on a day like today?
Well, I think it's outstanding because I think it highlights the quality of play in our league. Not only the quality of play in the players, but also the quality of coaching. So I think this is a great day for the kids and the schools and the conference in general.
Well, tell us a little bit about Austin Sierbeld and his journey to Ohio State.
So Austin is, I've been doing this, I think this was my 40th season, and he's the best lineman I've ever coached. I mean, for his size and his athleticism and how hard he plays and how hard he works, I think the ceiling is obviously very, very high for Austin.
Has he enrolled early?
Yeah, he's an early enrollee. Yeah, so he will not be here today. He went up, he graduated in December, so he went up January 8th or 9th, I think, and moved in, started class January 11th. I spoke to him once because he is a finalist for That's My Boy Award. So I spoke to him, and it's a grind. I mean, I think, not only are you, competing against college athletes, but you're competing against the best, college athletes when you go to a program like Ohio State. So,
what was your advice or what was your conversation like with him, just to check in on him? And
The thing with Austin is I don't know that he has to change anything about how he approaches things. From his junior year on, I thought his work ethic and his demeanor on the field were outstanding. And I don't think he really needs to, obviously you got to step up because the competition's obviously improved. And I don't think Austin will have any problem doing that.
Is he projected at tackle or guard?
They're going to play him inside, so he'll be a guard or a center.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Tell us a little bit about the offseason for the Thunderhawks and what you like most about the weight room effort.
Well, our kids have been in there since right after Thanksgiving, and they've been working very, very hard. I got one of my assistant coaches played at Oregon State, and he was like an exercise science major, so he kind of handles all that kind of stuff for us. And he's been doing it the last 2 or 3 years, and he does a great job with our kids, not only getting them stronger, but also improving their athleticism.
What do you like most about this team as you look ahead to summer?
We're going to be huge. I mean, it's probably going to be the biggest, doing this in all these years, the biggest offensive line we've ever had. I got 4 or 5 kids who are going to be juniors who are all 270 plus, and they're all, really good linemen, I think, or got a chance to be. And so it's going to be, we may line up and tilt the field. But that's probably going to be our biggest strength.
What do you attribute that to, that size? Just
good gene pool.
Yeah.
Yes, I have no idea.
Just a good crop offensive lineman coming through. Yeah.
So it's just one of those rare instances where you get, it's about 5 or 6 guys in one class, and so I think they're going to be a special group.
As you just mentioned, 40th season you just completed there as a head coach, and
40th season as a coach.
Coaching overall.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Coach.
That's okay.
What energizes you about high school football, going into your 41st year overall this fall, and what is it about the game that you still love with a passion?
Well, I think the kids, obviously, I think there's a part of it that the competition and being around them, and I think it keeps you young. I've loved football and the competition against the quality of coaching that you go against in this league week after week is outstanding. So it's just something that, I don't know if it's who I am, but it's what I am. And so that's just something I've always done, and I just can't see myself doing anything else.
Can you put into words just the level of competition, the level of preparedness that needs to happen on a Friday night in the GMC when you go against a league opponent?
Oh, it's hours. I'm watching film and being prepared to practice, and and the guys you play against, even though you maybe win at halftime, they're going to make great adjustments in the second half, and so, it's just great competition, and you got to bring your A game every week.
And I guess finally, obviously, long time, friendship with Coach Combs at UC, and what are your impressions of him coming back and being a part of this new staff of Coach Satterfield?
Well, I think it's awesome. He and Coach Satterfield were at school Friday, and I was fortunate I got to meet coached Satterfield while I was at Louisville. He came up to recruit Austin, and I was impressed with him. He was just very down to earth, and I think he's going to be a good hire. And obviously, I think Kerry's a great hire.
Great. Coach, really appreciate your time. Best of luck to Lakota East.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Coach. Lakota East Coach Rick Haynes, always kind enough to join us here in the WCPO High School Insider podcast. And we have spoken to 8 GMC head coaches here at the GMC signing day ceremony at the Delta Marriott in Sharonville, and very grateful for all these coaches' times. Again, Fairfield coach Jason Krause for organizing the schedule, and we want to thank our partners here, Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Chick-fil-A restaurants, for all of their support throughout the entire school year. Also, Beacon Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for allowing us to set up here at the GMC signing day ceremony. And up next is going to be Oak Hill's coach Justin Roden. He is on deck, but more than likely en route to the Delta Marriott here. As I mentioned earlier, Coach Roden, not only the Southwest District Division I Coach of the Year this year, but also the GMC Coach of the Year for helping quite a significant turnaround for the Highlanders there on the west side of Cincinnati. And I want to remind everybody this High School Insider podcast is sponsored by your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Chick-fil-A restaurants. Click for free breakfast in the app February 13th through the 25th. I'm going to welcome in Mike Slemons here to the WCPO High School Insider podcast. Mike, how you doing? I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for joining me for a few minutes. And I know this is quite an undertaking each and every year for Beacon Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. And Mike, if you could talk right into the mic there, we are live. Tell us a little bit about what goes into putting together such a great event like this.
Well, I think first of all, you have to have a great partner like yourself and Chick-fil-A. And we do a lot of planning with the football coaches for the GMC. Jason Krause headed that this year of organizing, I think, all 41 of our signees. So the details are organization from their end, and then the great help from Delta Marriott to get the event set up. So it's our pleasure to do it, and we enjoy it.
I know Beacon is a great supporter of high school athletics around this region, Northern Kentucky, Greater Cincinnati. Tell us why high school sports is obviously such a vital part of the community fabric.
Well, as you know, you're from Cincinnati, that it's all about high school sports. And, Beacon's been invested in high school sports for 30 years. It's what we do. It's the foundation of who we are, taking care of student athletes. So we enjoy every minute of it, and this is just part of a way for us to give back.
Tell us about some of the other events. I know you were at the Flying to the Hoop in Kettering a few weeks ago in mid-January. Just maybe some of the things that you really do to help promote it in person as well.
Yeah, good question. So Flying to the Hoop is a partnership that we started this year. Be with them for the next 5 years. So it's a lot of teams from the United States that come in to Kettering itself. And we hosted the sports medicine end of it, so it was a nice on-taking. It was well received, so we enjoy doing those outside events as well. And then soon we have our Conquer the Hill, Indian Hill 5K. That'll be in April, so we're a title sponsor for that as well. So we look forward to taking care of the running community as well.
I know this is a lot of work, obviously, as I mentioned, to organize this, but how rewarding is it at the end of the day to maybe see the smile on the student athletes, the families, and the coaches' faces?
Well, I think today is when Kim and I, McBride, who helps me set these things up, that's the thing. At 1 o'clock, we get to sit back and watch every kid smile, and that's the satisfaction from doing these events. So, and that's what Beacon believes in, is giving back to the community. So I get to rest for a few minutes and enjoy all the fun times and celebrations here soon. So.
Great. And where can people learn more about Beacon Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the services you provide and the support for high school sports as well?
Yeah, so simple. It's beaconortho.com. We have a really cool website. Many places to search. It's massive, but if you're looking for sports medicine, there's a sports medicine tab. There's an athletic training tab that basically shares all the information about every high school athletic trainer that we have on staff. So we have 30-plus high schools, and we are very proud of every individual that serves us as an athletic trainer for Beacon Orthopedics.
Great, Mike. Well, we really appreciate your time and perspective, and I know you're going to sit back and enjoy the event, so
Thank
enjoy.
you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mike Slemons of Beacon Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. We've talked to 8 of the head coaches here in the GMC. And we are hoping to talk to Oak Hill's coach Justin Roden and Middletown coach Don Simpson. And as I speak, Coach Roden is joining here the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. Coach, we are live on Facebook and YouTube Live. And if you want to just speak into that mic, we'll be good to go. How are you
Sorry,
doing?
Mike. Sorry
That's
for my
okay. No
tardiness,
problem at
guys.
all. That's okay.
Apologize sincerely.
No problem at all. And we got the list here of everybody signing. 40 student athletes, Coach, that are signing in the GMC overall since the early signing period. I mean, talk about just this event and just how special it is to recognize everybody.
I tell people all the time this is obviously it's the best public school conference in the state, and one of the best states of high school football in the United States. So, and this season again, a conference produced. You can look at the list, and I kind of smirk a little bit because you notice there's not a no kills guy on the list this year, but I feel like that's coming. We did have one, that picked up an opportunity late, but the conference as a whole is just special. Week in and week out. It's a fun conference. Sometimes you hate seeing that two deep when it comes on, Monday, and you're looking over there like there's a scholarship kid, there's another scholarship kid, and it shows you how much this conference has grown and continues to grow as far as the level of coaching, the level of the players. It's just it's a special place to have an opportunity to coach and for our kids to play in. But from an opposing standpoint, not much fun to play again week in and week out. But it's a great event, and I was just saying I chuckled at you guys and I ran in because I went across the street, and this is my third year being a part of it, and evidently I criticize my kids, but I can't read an email very well either. I just saw Sharonville and assumed it was in the same location, but this is done first class. Beacon, Chick-fil-A every year. I've been a part of this. Have been huge sponsors. They do a great deal for the kids. Chick-fil-A is a huge part of our community, and they do a bunch for us on Friday nights. And then Beacon, I can't say enough about Dr. Argo and what they do for not only my football program, but my son. My son had labrum surgery this year, and Dr. Argo was and the whole group and the PT group was outstanding. So it's a fantastic event with fantastic sponsors, and very pleased to be part of it.
Great. I want to talk about this past season here a little bit and some of the coaching honors you received as well. But tell us about Daniel and his opportunity to go to Youngstown State.
So Daniel Bybant is it's an awesome story because Daniel came to us mid-season last year. Big lacrosse player. Does all the things you could think of from a lacrosse standpoint. I won't demonstrate my ignorance in regard to the lacrosse sport, but came out, played football for us. Obviously when you join a team middle of the year, you're kind of wet behind the ears, and really committed himself to the off season. Got really big and was in a position to have a great season. Starts the first game, has an awesome out of the gate opportunity, and plays well, and then he tears almost every ligament in his knee. So pretty. From our standpoint, it's kind of woe is me because it's Oak Hills. That kind of happens to us more than other places. But he really did an amazing job rehabbing his knee, worked hard. What I'll say about him, what makes him special is that he came every day. He's on crutches. Sometimes you have those kids that kind of come in and out. They just come on Friday for the free food or the notoriety of what's going on. But he was there religiously, and I'll thank an elder grad. Coach Bujnak up at Youngstown State. I reached out to him, and Daniel's dad is a grad, playing the 86 to 89 season. Daniel's grandpa was best friends with Nick Saban at Alabama, so they've got some football ties, and got an opportunity to go up there and meet Coach, and they like what they saw from him, from what he looked like in person. Obviously, you don't have a ton of film when you only play one game in a little bit, but if you get to know him, get to talk to him, he carries himself well. He has great charisma, and I'm just super excited for him. I mean, we had our signing this morning, and Dad's wearing his Youngstown State Letterman's jacket, so he's only worn it a few times, and got a chance to meet Grandma, and I'm just happy for him. Anytime you can have a kid get that opportunity to, go on to college, it feels great. But when it's, there's some ties to the family, I feel, very happy, and I'm very appreciative of Coach Bujnak and the Youngstown State for giving him that chance to represent Oak Hills and represent his family.
How does that make an impact for your program? Maybe some of your underclassmen who see that Daniel has this opportunity, and it's got to make a profound reason there.
It's awesome. I mean, I keep saying things are awesome because I lack sometimes the vocabulary to describe beside that. It's the kid in me, but I had lots of young men asking questions today about Coach, how do we get that opportunity? And I try to relay them that walk-on opportunities are fewer nowadays because of the portal and some other variables and the money that kind of go along with high-level football. So you don't quite have the same, walk-on chances that used to be there. But in his case, he's got great grades. He did all the things in the classroom that carried himself. He's not a behavior problem. So, you're going to see lots of kids have great huddle films, and they might look the part, but at the end of the day, it's those fine little details like your grades and your ACT scores that kind of separate you. I mean, Daniel had, again, this is a cheesy thing. I only know this because my son and kids pointed out to me that he's got like 14, 15,000 people that have viewed that profile on Twitter, that signing piece. And so, like, if you relay to the kids, like, hey, these opportunities will continue to happen if, you continue to drink the Kool-Aid and you buy into the program. And it's kind of reflective of how our season, having a little bit of success this year for us, kind of worked into more opportunities from our kids. Now we have some seniors that are going to go to college. We do have a few, but they haven't made that decision just yet. So they're still doing what I feel is the appropriate thing. They're waiting to fill out that FAFSA information. They're waiting for some schools to say yes or no. They're taking those extra visits. So for our kids, it might not be, the Division I football schools. It might be as much of that academic piece meeting the football piece in the middle. So our kids are doing a great job right now. We're gonna have some signees, to commit to playing D2 and D3 football. They're just, either in a basketball season, and we do have a tremendous group of underclassmen. So I think, that mixture is why I joke about not having, kids on that list, but we do have some outstanding players. It's just maybe a different process for our kids in regard to, moving on to that next step.
Obviously, a 5-5 regular season, playoff appearance, third consecutive playoff appearance. What was your biggest takeaway from this past season, the turnaround the program is experiencing?
Yeah, my brother will joke about he's over at Elder, but joking about the third playoff appearance in a row. I feel like this is really the first one that we earned. We were at a point in a season where we lost a heartbreaker to Colerain, after being 2-0, and then finding ourselves in a situation where we were, 2-5, and typical Oak Hills teams, I'll be truthful with you, would have folded and, sometimes turned on each other. But this group for the last 2 years, even the 0-11 year, it's a very loyal group. It's a selfless group. It's getting better. And they found a way to grit out and find unique ways to beat 3 good football programs that kicked the crap out of us, last year. I mean, we were embarrassing last 2 years ago versus Hamilton. I mean, they beat the brakes off of us, and we gritted out 3 blue-collar wins. And I think, if anything, for me as a coach, and I'm going to call this selfishly, I describe myself as a blue-collar person, a blue-collar family guy. The way that we played last year, we won, was very blue-collar. So I think for us to continue to be able to compete against the likes of these talented players, we've got to be gritty, and we're going to have our ups and our downs, and play a tougher style of football, which most people, when they say Oak Hills, don't think that. But as recognized by the I'm always humble enough with the coaching awards, but those are all reflective of the kids and what they've done, this season, and win those games.
Tell us a little bit about the winter and how things are going in the weight room, and what you like most about going into the next season.
Super excited. We have our superintendent, our principal, and our athletic director, Ben Hageman. They have created a 7th Bell strength class that's football. So I see 93 of my kids every single day, 5 days a week, 7th Bell, even if they're involved in other sports. So we're lifting together 5 days, and it's awesome to be around them. Maybe too much. So from day one this semester, I've seen the little knuckleheads, and we're getting ready to test next week. So it's special to be able to have an opportunity to see your kids every day and build those bonds that are so important, because we do have kids playing basketball. We do have wrestlers. We do have track and lacrosse. But regardless if they're involved in those other sports, I get to see their face. I can ask them how their day is going. And I think, again, if you ask our athletic director, our mantra is relationships. And we're fostering those, and we're growing those. So I'm not going to tell you we're the strongest team in the GMC. I'm not going to tell you we're the fastest team. But we are a team that is close, and that family, ideology and those principles of a quality program are being built every day. So I'm very pleased. We'll see how that transpires next year. But as of right now, we're excited.
Great stuff, Coach. I always appreciate your time and perspective. Best of luck to Oak Hills.
Thank you. Sorry for my tardiness.
No problem at all. Thanks,
Mike.
Justin.
Appreciate it, buddy.
All the best to you. Oak Hills coach Justin Roden here joining us on the WCPO High School Insider podcast, and we're going to be joined by Middletown coach Don Simpson here momentarily. Again, want to give a shout-out to Chick-fil-A, Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Chick-fil-A restaurants supporting our hometown athletes. And again, thank you for being able to provide this opportunity for us, and obviously a catered lunch to the student athletes and families here at the Delta Marriott on Chester Road in Sharonville. Just a win-win for everybody involved, and we are very grateful for Chick-fil-A for, again, its support throughout the entire school year of this WCPO High School Insider podcast. And Coach Simpson is making his way over here. And, Coach, I want to give you a couple Chick-fil-A gift cards here just to start off the conversation. There you go. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're live on Facebook Live and YouTube as well. And thank you for taking a few minutes here before the ceremony starts. And first of all, tell us, I know you've been a part of many of these. How special of a day is this to recognize all the student athletes?
This is a really special day. You know, this is a special conference. We know how competitive this conference can be, but we do things first class also in this conference. And so when my first time experiencing this, years ago, I just thought this was amazing. Not many conferences do this, come together to recognize their elite athletes in their conference. And then you get to see a really clear picture of how competitive this conference really is, when you see all these great guys signing, going off to college. So it's a special day for us.
40 student athletes who have committed to, signed to commit to continue their academic and athletic career. And, Coach, if you don't mind, could you tell us about your 3 signees and how special they've been to your program?
Yes, Ronan Casanova, team elected captain. Ronan was a first-team all-conference guy, middle linebacker, led the conference in tackles. He's a big academic guy. Ronan sits there with a 4.2 GPA, so he's going to be going off to Marist College. A young man aspires to be a doctor once he finishes up all of his academic work. So he was one of those guys. He was a coach on the field, and he also was a great leader in the school, a great leader amongst his peers. So he was special. He's going to truly be missed, being a 2-year captain for us. And next guy, Lamont Chambers, was our rock. Lamont played both sides of the ball for us. He played running back. He was first team all-conference as a running back. Lamont also played defense for us. And he's going to be going off to the University of Findlay. I think it's going to be a great fit for Lamont. He's a guy who prides in relationships and closeness, and that's going to give him that aspect at Findlay. But at the same time, I think Lamont is a D1 guy. So Findlay's getting a great addition to their team, getting Lamont Chambers on their squad. So that's going to be very interesting. And the last one, a late commit here, Jaden Lewis was originally going to another university, changed universities, for a fit. It's all about relationship. And, he enjoyed his time at University of Findlay. Jaden he was our starting DN. He was our starting tackle. Jaden was a impact guy, first team all-conference also, team elected captain. He's going to be a huge addition. He's one of those guys we'll probably see an impact on him his freshman year right off the bat. I can see that happening without a doubt. And the coaches believe the same thing when they got him to sign there. They were like, he's going to be an impact guy for us right away. And that's the type of player he was. So great to see these 3. We'll have some later ones. We got some guys with other offers. They're just kind of weighing out their options, want to make sure that the fit is right, and they have time. So we'll probably sign another 3 or 4 guys going off to play scholarship football.
It sounds like from the way you're describing these 3 student athletes, they may not need a ton of advice, but how do you advise these guys as they begin a new chapter in their life?
Just understanding, when they went through high school, and they always sit back on their senior year and they always reflect and they always have those regrets. I wish I would have. So now you get a clean slate. Now you're starting this next journey, this next 4-year journey. Don't make the same mistakes again. You've learned from that. I always think of high school was like a dress rehearsal. Now it's go time. You're an adult. You understand the mistakes you made as a child. Now perform as an adult. So day one as a freshman, you're not the freshman that you were when you were 14 years old in high school. Now you're 18. Now you understand about mistakes that was made back in the day. Don't let it happen again. And that's kind of what I get to them. I say all those things you regret, make sure you don't have those same regrets in 4 years.
Coach, obviously people like to get a snapshot, maybe a little preview of the 2023 middies. First of all, who do you open up the season with, and what do you like about the team as you get ready for the spring?
So we'll open our season up again with Loveland. They'll come to us this year. We went to them last year. They'll come to us, and then we immediately go into GMC play. We're going to be a very seasoned team this year, and it's going to be a different look for Middletown. Maybe not a different look for those who follow the program, because it's going to look a lot like middies of old. We're going to go back to more. It'll be more tempo type pace of offense and different things like that. And we got the experience. You know, we have a lot of guys coming back on our offensive line. 4 of the 5 starters are coming back. You know, we got secondaries returning. You know, so we look out at our 22 guys who return. We got 12 of them coming back with some playing experience and with some guys who played some JV ball that we were really impressed with, you know, that developed, got better, and they're going to be seniors next year, and they're ready for their opportunity to get out there on Friday nights. So it should be exciting. You know, we're getting there, and we're seeing the progress. We're seeing the things turn, you know, coming from this season into this next season. Everybody's energy is there saying that, all right, we gotten to the point where we know we're competitive. Now let's go start winning those close ones.
Great, Coach. Really appreciate your time and perspective, and all the best to the Middies going forward.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Enjoy today. That was Middletown coach Don Simpson, kind enough to join us here on the WCPO High School Insider podcast. And now as we conclude this special episode of the 24th Annual GMC Signing Day, we want to, again, thank Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Chick-fil-A restaurants for supporting high school athletics, including high school football, and also Beacon Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for hosting this event here at the Delta Marriott in Sharonville. Thank you again for watching, and we really appreciate, again, the coaches who joined us for the conversation, and we will look forward to speaking with you again shortly as we continue the winter sports season and look ahead to another exciting high school football season in Greater Cincinnati.